Dodgeball, you need 5 colored dice per player. 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you need 1 dice to represent the ball. So each player puts 3 on their back row, spaced out evenly. And then 2 on the second from front row, spaced out evenly. Okay, and we will place the ball right in the middle of the line in the middle of the court. Okay, now Dodgeball is a mixture of getting to the ball, passing to your opponents, and then having very, very smart strategic rolls to hit the other player with the ball and have a pretty powerful roll, which we'll go over. Now, the game starts with both players rolling to see who gets the ball first. And that's just done whoever has the highest die roll. So red rolls, red has a 6, very good. Blue has a 2. So immediately, red gets the ball, so red takes one of their front 2 players and moves and then puts the ball on top of them. So they get it, and they come back to their space, and the game is started. Now, when you have the ball, your player has a couple different options. They can either pass it to their teammate in any of the surrounding 8 spaces. The pass is immediate, and your opponents do not get a chance to respond. Now, if I wanted to pass it outside of that space, I could pass to this teammate over here, but being that it's outside of the 8 surrounding me, that gives my opponents a chance to move one of their dice away from me. So let's say I made that pass right there. Blue now gets a chance to move one of their players left, right, front, or backwards. So they're going to take this 3 and move him back because he's being threatened by this guy with the ball right here. So let's say now red wants to go for a throw. Take 3 dice, roll them, and I have 2 4s and a 6. Now, the object is to land the ball directly on an opposing player. You can do that by using 1 die or a combination of 2 dice in a straight or L-shaped direction. So let's see, I have 2 4s and a 6 here. So I can actually throw this straight, go 1, 2, 3, 4. It hits number 3, and I get to use one of my other dice that I didn't use for the throw as my attack. So my attack is a 6, which is great. Now, the 3 now has a chance to try and block that. If they rolled higher than me, that means they caught the ball, and my player would be out. If they beat it by 0, or if they beat it by 1, then the ball bounced before it got to them, nobody's out. And if they roll less than me by more than 2, then they would be out. So they would roll. They rolled a 5. It's less. So the ball bounces there because it was less than 2, and the game goes on. Nobody is out. So now they have a chance to either pass it. The only one within their 8 is backward, so probably not the best idea. So they're going to move forward 1, which immediately gives red a chance to move 1 as well. So I'm going to move this 4 backwards right here. He's going to move forward 1 again. I'm going to get this 4 back. And he's going to roll 3 dice and go for a throw. Roll 3, 3, 3, 5. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. And he's going to use the 5 as the attack. I'm going to go for a defense. 2. I got less than his attack by more than 2, so that knocks my player out, and I now have to get the stranded ball. So I move one of my players up, because you can't move diagonally. He gets to move his back. I move to the right to pick the ball up, moves his back. I'm going to try and get close to the line here, and he moves his. I'm going to go 1 forward again. He moves his, and now because I had to get the ball and get to the middle of the court, he's got most of his defenders playing pretty far back. So I'm going to go for a throw. We have a 4, 5, 6 here, so let's see. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try and get that 3 out again. I'm going to use the 6. He's going to go for a block. 5, unlucky for me. It's a turnover, and now I'm very, very close right here. So blue would roll again, probably go for this 5, see if you can knock him out. Also, if you want to throw to an empty space to just kind of get rid of the ball and maybe tuck it in a corner or very far away from your opponent, so they have to move a lot to get to the ball, which gives you a chance to move your players, back away towards, towards the wall. That's a very good strategy as well. So the game keeps going until all of the players on one side have been knocked out. When it gets down to 2-on-1 or 1-on-2, it's an absolute blast trying to figure out who you can throw to, if it's worth going for an attack and leaving yourself stranded close up. Yeah, the game is very fun. To play horse racing, each player needs 2 dice to play on the board. And they also need 6 dice to roll with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each player gets 4 markers, which are used as obstacles. Okay, so it starts off, doesn't matter what number you place them on, or what number is up on the die. Alright, so these dice right here, these are your horses. Now, each player, when you start the game, takes turn placing down an obstacle on either the inner or the outer track. So, let's say I'm going to put mine right here. Blue will match it pretty closely. I'm going to put one about the middle. Blue's going to put one up ahead of me. Here. So I'm spreading mine out throughout the game to try and screw with my opponent here. And blue will put one right here on the inner track. Okay, now to start the game, you roll 6 dice. So I have 3 2s, a 1, a 5, and a 6. So 1, 3 2s, 5, 6. Now I have 4 separate numbers here, being 1, 2, 5, 6, or I have 1 double, being the 2s. So right here, I could either make one horse go 4 spaces, or I can make both horses go 1 space. So I'm not going to worry about the 1 space. I'm just going to take the 4 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, because it gets me over that first obstacle. I don't have to worry about it. So now blue would have a turn. Blue gets 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, 5. Okay, so blue can either roll or push 1 horse 3 spaces or both horses 3 spaces, because he has 3 different numbers and 3 doubles. So blue would do both horses 3 spaces. Cool. He didn't get as far as I did, but I still have 1 guy left back in the block right there. Roll. I have 3 4s. 5, 6, 2. So I have 4 separate numbers there, or 1 double again. So I'm going to take my guy back in the block here, moving 4. Now, when you land on top of an opponent, it pushes them back 1 space. Now, that's really handy when you can push them back onto an obstacle, because when they're on an obstacle, when they roll, they have to completely get rid of one of their movement dice so they can get off the obstacle. So it usually gets them 1 or 2 less spaces to work with. So blue would retaliate. And we've got 1, 2, 4, 4, 4, 3. So it's 4 separate numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, moving up the inner track. Now, the objective is to get both of your horses around and then past this start-finish line right here. When a horse makes it all the way around, pull them off the board, and now you only have the 1 horse to work with. First player to get both of their horses around the track past the finish line is the winner. Now, marbles is a game of accuracy. It's very similar to bocce. For this, each player gets 6 or 7 dice. We'll do 7. 7. And each player takes turn. You decide on the distance that you want to slide your dice from, and the objective is to get as many of your dice as close to the middle circle as possible. Then it scores like bocce. The person with the closest die gets a point, and then they get X amount of points, where X is the number of dice that they have closer that their opponent doesn't have them beat on. So, I would start by rolling a red die. Blue would respond. Pretty terrible throw, blue. Red would respond. Blue would respond, kind of break that up a little bit. Red would respond. Blue, that was a good shot for blue. So red just knocked blue completely out of it, and now it would have 2 points there, but there's 2 more throws. And red responds, just trying to get it nice and close, and he misses it. So red has definitely 1 point because he's right in the middle circle there, but he doesn't have any closer dice. So on the score tracker, red got 1 point that round. Blue is still at 0 points for the round. And then it moves on. Each player grabs their respective dice color, and it moves on to round 2. Currently, it's set up to play over 6 rounds. You can play as long as you want to, though. Very, very fun little game. Essentially, just go for accuracy and obliterate your opponent's dice. 21's a really interesting game because it kind of takes an interesting spin on blackjack. To play this game, you need the 21 board, and then each player also needs a score tracker. So to play 21, you have your board, you have your score tracker, and each player starts with 2 dice, and then they also get their 6 dice to hit with. Now, the goal is to get as close to 21 as possible. And what's interesting is you only have 50 hit rolls to use. So each player, you can either use 2 separate score trackers or just use 1. We'll just use 1 for right now. So each player starts with 50. So I would start my roll, and then hide it from your opponent because you don't want them to know what you have. Because you want to get them to try and beat you by using more dice rolls. And then, if they use 5 or 6 dice rolls and end up losing, they don't get points and they have significantly less rolls left for the rest of the game. So, I have an 8 right here. So I would choose to hit, because that's nowhere near 21. I have a 3, so that's an 11. These are played out here now. A 4, up to 15. So 15 is a pretty good number in this game, because a 5 or a 6 will put me at 20 or 21. 18. So I would choose to stay at 18. So say my opponent goes through the motions, they get a 17. So I now, using 2 more markers, I won the game, so I get 2 victory points. So I go 1, 2, my opponent's still at 0. I used 3 hit dice for this, so 1, 2, 3. And let's say my opponent rolled a 17 and they only used 2. So I've used 1 more roll than my opponent, but I'm up by 2 points. Now, if you win with a 21, that's worth 4 victory points instead of 2. And the game ends when a player doesn't have 2 points left on the board to roll with to hit. And say I still have 8 rolls left and my opponent finished. Take a look at the score, and then being that I have 8 unused rolls, I get to add 8 victory points to my final score, and then add the total score, see who wins. So yeah, that's the basics of 21. Tennis has 2 boards, each player gets 1 board. Okay, so now between the 2 players, you can decide on how much distance you want between the boards The further away, the more difficult the game is going to be. So for the sake of this video, we'll just go pretty close up right here. Okay, each player gets 3 colored dice. And if you want, you can take some of the extra dice and you can kind of use them as like goalposts to weigh the board down a little bit. Okay, so to see who goes first, just roll 1 die. Whoever has the highest roll gets to go. Red has a 2, a 3. Okay, we'll say red got to go first, being that I'm on this side right now. Okay, so red can decide to roll 1, 2, or 3 dice. Now, the objective is to roll them across the board, like you're serving a ball, and land them on your opponent's board. So, we're going to go for that. Okay, so I got a 6 there. If another one of these dice was partially touching the board, then it would count, but these 2 went off the board, and I now have a 6. Now, these come back to me, and my opponent now has a chance to roll 1, 2, or 3 dice, and see if they can beat that 6. So, they're going to roll, let's roll 2, and they're going to roll it on their side of the board. And again, they have to keep it on their side for the return. So they would be coming from this way, but let's see. 8. So now they have an 8, and they get to roll this extra die to hit it back to me now. Let's see. There's 1. So it comes back with a 1. And now I have to beat that 1. Now, the game continues back and forth. If I didn't beat the 1, I would have beaten the 1, but if I didn't beat the 1, then the ball is lost, and blue takes 15 points. The game is scored, like normal tennis rules, or if you wanted to, you can just go, blue scores 1 point, red still has 0 points, and you can play till 5, you can play till 10, you can play till your hands hurt. Totally up to you. But yeah, those are the basics of tennis. Really, it requires a lot of accuracy and a lot of thinking about, the correct amount of dice to roll to get a good block, but also make sure you don't set yourself up and you don't have a strong enough roll back to return with.